Alright, it's yo boy, the director Chris Keeling here, doing a CK Project video. That's right, we're just trying to get new content out. We're about ready to start our podcast as well, so we're going to multicast this. As we do this, we're going to fill in. So we're going to start this. Again, just give me a second. Alright! Everybody, it's your boy, the director, Chris Keeling. Along with me is the lovely, beautiful, talented Sarah the Ted.
Hello.
It is December 1st, 2019, the first day of the last month of the teens decade. That is right. We are around the corner. We are going to the year 2020. And tonight, our podcast is not only being podcast, we are being dual cast with a video that is going to go up on YouTube. So with that being said, Sarah the Ted, what do we have for our audience tonight?
Well, today is December 1st, which starts off the week with Crohn's and Colitis Awareness Week. I know that November was Crohn's and Colitis Awareness Month, but then we end the month with 1 week of also awareness.
Mm-hmm.
So, got a little bit of information here about it. Basically, let's see. It says, according to the last figures, IBD affects an estimated 1.6 million Americans. And okay,
so you can speak out to
thank
everybody.
You very much. And it also says that, in fact, there are more than 70,000 cases of IBD, which is irritable bowel disease, in the U.S. each year. And Crohn's and colitis are lifelong diseases. There is no cure for these right now. I don't know if there'll ever be a cure for them because of what happens. You know, it affects your gut, so it's kind of hard to cure it. To tell you the truth, there are ways to manage it, but not cure it. So
with that, we come down. Okay, I'm going to interrupt. Sorry. About the Crohn's and colitis, right? You have been diagnosed with Crohn's disease. Mm-hmm. Officially for over a year.
Mm-hmm.
But we've figured that you've probably had it at least a few years.
Yeah. Longer
than that, undiagnosed. Okay? So with that being said, and you know, we're about health, physical health, fitness, mental health, weight loss, and everything. So let's talk about you dealing with a chronic disease. And let's start with a mental point of view of this. Mentally, how has this affected you?
It's depressing.
Okay. Let's talk about more on how has it affected you mentally. I mean, it's the fact that you're never going to get rid of this is very much, you know, it's a given.
Yeah.
That it's depressing, right? But how has it mentally affected you? How do you, you know, walk us through the process of when you first found out, when your doctor, Dr. Frey, said, you look like you have Crohn's.
Mm-hmm.
How did that make you feel?
From what I knew about it, I was upset with the fact that, because I don't know anyone, I have not heard of anybody in my family having Crohn's. And I know it can be a genetic thing, and then I was like wondering how did I get it? Because the last two doctors that did colonoscopies on me, one of them came off and said, I have it because of stress. And come to find out, you can't get bowel disease from stress. It can flare it up, but it can't give you, you can't get it from it.
Well, without naming names, some doctors are quacks.
Yes.
Anyways, okay, so obviously you were shocked, you're taken back, you were upset, and deep down, because I was there, you probably kind of had a feeling that, well, I probably had this longer than what you're telling me. It's just,
yes,
it's now. So, I know it's a bit personal. Do you want to know? Do you want to let people know why you went in to get checked in the first place? And keep in mind, okay, I know I generally let a few words slip here or there, but let's try to keep it somewhat PG, because...
okay, I wasn't gonna. Well, having irritable bowel syndrome, that is where it ends up, you end up in the bathroom all the time, just going to the bathroom constantly. And that's what I normally was doing for the longest time. During that time, you can have what you call like a mucus looking stool. And I was having that for a while. And then what led me up to going into the doctor this last time before I got diagnosed with Crohn's was I was bleeding. And first it started off with, okay, I've had this blood before, no problem. It was not that bad. Little tiny bits. Okay. And then it got worse. And it got worse. And then I got scared, remember?
Right. So you had blood in your stool?
Yes.
How long was this going on before you really started getting concerned about it, though?
Probably a month and a half, because it would come and go, and then when it was going on for like a week and a half straight with it, and I thought, oh no.
Okay.
And then it got really bad. That last few times when I told you about it, it got really bad, and that's when I needed to go in.
Okay, so a lot of your other symptoms that happened, like your joint pain, and was this stuff that had happened previous to you finding out, or did it just kind of was it something you started noticing after your diagnosis?
It started happening I started noticing it previously, because if I've looked back into my Facebook memories that I would post how I was feeling during certain days, I was realizing that my memories were really posting like I was, if I was hurting, for a while, and didn't put two and two together.
Okay, so again, let's go back to the mental aspect of it. So you find out and you're concerned, right?
Yeah.
And it's been about a year before we've actually gotten anything.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, any real what is it, like any real answers to anything?
Yes.
Because I notice that when you go through chronic diseases, that sometimes it's not about necessarily completing treating the disease, but it's to also get rid of the questions on what you don't have.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay, so
I've also found out recently that someone that had previously been diagnosed with a chronic illness, it could take up to 3 to 5 years to be able to find exactly how to treat it.
Okay.
Yeah.
So with that being said, since you've been diagnosed and life is gone on, and we do our best. You have your good days and your bad days. I can attest to this, right?
Mm-hmm.
I'll admit, with Lucky Bomb films and movies going on in my head, and the geek cultural, experience, and here at the CK Project, my mind is constantly in a billion different ways, and so I know as a husband and as a father that I'll admit that sometimes I'm not always as there as I probably could be.
Mm-hmm.
We have to go to an appointment. I'm there. You have to go to the ER. I'm there. Something happens, right? But with that being said, um, knowing that the joint problems are getting worse and your grip and stuff isn't what it used to be, you know. I I imagine that it's frustrating from the point of view that you can't do the things that you used to. You can't just like open up pickle jar or whatever it is that
Yeah.
you were able to do. You know, you can't drive like you used to because I guess you said it's also started messing with your vision at times.
Yeah.
Okay,
That
so
comes and goes, but yeah.
and I know we've said it, and I don't remember if we've said it on other podcasts because well, we do content constantly, even though we've had to take breaks here or there. Um, we've led to the conclusion that because you can't do like you used to, this is why if you get a bunch of the cranky old people because they used to be able to do something and now they can't, and we can see that they get that way from frustrations of not being able to do
Yes.
what it is they do, and mentally, you know, how's that? What do you think about that?
Yes, I've noticed I have, like I said, on my last appointment, I explained to the doctor that I've been more cranky lately, and he said that's understandable because having a chronic illness will do that to people, make them cranky, more angry because of the fact that you're going from doing certain things in your life, then you have to quit doing certain things, like going to Disneyland. The last 2 times we've gone, I've had to be in a wheelchair because my left leg causes me not to be able to walk long periods of time.
Right.
It's one thing to take a walk with you around town, but to walk around Disneyland, that's a different story.
Which is like 10 billion miles long as it is.
Yes.
And you're going back and forth, so it adds on. So, that part is frustrating. I'm sure you're like, you wish you could walk, you could enjoy because the wheelchair kind of gets in the way.
Yeah.
And I imagine that you're slightly embarrassed by that.
I am, but hey, I'm not gonna lie. Getting in and out of the lines quickly.
Yeah, I'm not gonna lie either. Getting into rides faster is a perk. Come on,
it is.
You gotta take the good with the bad and everything. And
it is, but yeah, I do. I kind of wish there's times, that I could, like this last time. I mean, I love Lily to death, but when she pushed me into the tracks right there and I got stuck, that was kind of embarrassing, but
right.
But hey. It is what it is, but like I said, it's only my second time being in a wheelchair doing that, so I guess if I have to keep doing it, going to places like that, and, I'll get used to it, but...
Right.
Yeah.
Okay, so we talk about that. What about physically? I mean, is it like this past year, has it just felt like your body's quitting on you, that is just shutting down, or how does that handle with you? Because let's face it, after you got diagnosed, the place I go that actually pays our bills, I did night shift for 6 months, and let's face it, that 6 month period, I was nothing to anybody. I was a zombie every day that I worked because I only sleep 5 hours, and so on top of that, you get up by noon, and then you're at work at 9 at night, and you get home at 7 in the morning just to redo everything all over again. Let's face it, I wasn't very present for you or the kids. Hell, I wasn't even very present for a lot of our a lot of the brand content. I mean, my blogs really suffered from it. I noticed, and creatively, the movie works suffered, and so was that a huge problem? I mean, obviously, in the 18 years that we had been together, every night we were in bed together, and all of a sudden I was in bed 2 nights a week.
Yeah, it was.
And a few hours in the morning every day. But then you had to get up. You had to take the kids to school. You had to go to work. Were you noticing your body seem to stop working as efficiently during that time?
Yes, I noticed that because of also the medications I was taking. I had to learn to adjust the fact that you being gone all night and me not, and then my medications, the way I had to take them and stuff. Because I can't take medications if it's just me and the kids. I really try not to take my medications unless I absolutely have to, because the way they make me feel. Like I can't take them before I go to work
Right.
because I work with children and that's not going to work with me. So when you're not being here, it's the only time I can take them is when they go to bed.
Right.
So I'm suffering all through the day in pain because you're sleeping or whatnot, and I have to be present for the children, so I don't take my medications.
Well, and I noticed you at night take your medicines late anyways, and wasn't that the way it was during the 6 months?
Yes.
So maybe from that point of view, maybe starting to get your medicine in at night. Well, because it looks like with things that are going on, I will be going back to night shift
Yes.
for another 6 months. But
Yeah.
I think we got it this time. I think things will work better because now we know
Yeah.
that. I would imagine maybe scheduling yourself to start taking your medicine at 9, so the kids are in bed 9:30, 10 o'clock.
Yeah.
Then you're in bed at a reasonable time. Then you can try to get your sleep or whatever.
Yeah, now that I know what I'm doing now, if you have to go back on that shift again, it can be a lot easier. Yeah.
Okay, and so what about your medicines? I mean, you've always had an issue taking medicine. You don't swallow pills, and
No.
you know.
Well, that's how my dad was for the longest time until he got in his accident, and then all the medications he had to take, he started being able to swallow. I can start swallowing certain pills. Some that are a certain size for get it. They still won't go down. But
So, and obviously you're totally on like a different schedule for drugs now. You know how you get the like schedule 1, schedule 2, up to like schedule 5. I think schedule 5's the lightest drugs, I want to say.
Yeah.
I don't know if that's the scale or one. I don't remember because I know I was doing that pharmacy work at one time, or I was going to school for it. But you're on a different level, and I know.
do you want me to tell everybody what I'm on?
That's up to you. I mean, it's not necessarily anybody's business, but you can tell them. You could tell them what some of the medicines you've been on, because I know you're not on it, but they put you on prednisone, and I know that made you feel pretty funky for
They
a while.
put me on prednisone, which if you know what prednisone is, for you out there, it's a steroid. It helps deal with the initial inflammation of your stomach, your gut, your colon, and all that stuff. That's one thing that prednisone can do. The side effects suck. I mean, one moon face, of course. My skinny face ended up turning really puffy. I got really swollen, which I'm constantly swollen, got swollen ankles as it is. No, you know. Now, that's just something natural that happens with people with my issues. And
So but is the swollen ankles more than just messing with like arthritis, or are you coming down with arthritis?
it's called Crohn's related arthritis. It's not like I don't have like arthro, whatever. All those different.
Osteoarthritis.
Yeah, all those
okay.
different types of arthritis I could get because remember I was tested for those, a few months back.
Right, but
And-
does that swell up your ankles too?
Yeah, it swells up that in my
Okay,
hands. My hands and my feet and ankles will swell. Yeah. But I have that, and so my medications are a cause of all that. But prednisone caused certain things like I didn't like the way for some reason it's supposed to help your joint pain, but it made mine worse.
Okay.
It caused me to be in more severe pain. I think it was because of the steroid. This was the very first time I've ever been on a steroid. I've never been on a steroid my whole entire life. Some people go on them for acne and other things, but I never had acne that bad to ever need to go on because I knew a few people that were on it for that.
I'm sorry, did you state this according to the latest figures? IBD figures an estimated 1.6 million Americans.
Mm-hmm.
In fact, there are more than 70,000 cases of IBD in the United States each year.
Yeah.
Crohn's and colitis are lifelong diseases which you hit up. So, when most people hear about anything with bowels, the thing they know is IBS.
Mm-hmm.
What is the difference between IBS and IBD?
IBS is irritable bowel syndrome, and IBD is irritable bowel disease, which the disease is non-curable. Syndrome is something that you can manage a lot easier than the disease. And the disease is non-curable. It is, and IBD is just, they just call it IBD because IBD is like you've got colitis, you've got Crohn's, you've got all sorts of things, which I didn't know you could have all three at one time, which when they tested my colon, this last colonoscopy, I had them all.
Oh, wow. Okay.
That's on my paperwork. It shows I have all of it. IBS will be something that I'll always have because that is what I was diagnosed with first. But then when I had my MRI done, they noticed that IBD.
Okay.
And then when I did the colonoscopy, Dr. Frey noticed I had Crohn's. So my paperwork says I have all three.
So, you're getting ready to try a new medicine.
Yes.
Humira.
Yes.
I think there's commercials for it on TV.
God, I've been seeing tons of them out there, yes.
Okay, so what, let me see how I'm trying to say this. What do you think about it? I mean, it's an injectable drug.
Yes.
But it's supposed to be like the thing that's going to help you in the end.
Yes.
So how does that make you feel? I know you're not necessarily a fan of needles, which is fine, right?
Mm-hmm.
But how does that make you feel? I know, before you answer that, I kind of have a little bit because I'm like, oh, I had to do blood thinners when I had my gastric sleeve.
Yeah, and I hope.
And I had to inject myself, and honestly, it wasn't as bad as I thought it was gonna be. I was like, this is gonna suck.
The way you got injected and the
pincushion.
way I'm gonna be injected are two different ways, though. Mine is gonna be done like an EpiPen.
So it may not be as bad.
It may not be as bad. That's what they want to try to put me on, is the EpiPen. There's two. I could have got it the other way, just a regular syringe, but that's how diabetics are going now with the pen.
Well, because that's all I did was in a quick shot, and it would, like I said.
Yeah. But there's the side effects from Humira, though, are kind of worry me because I'm like textbook. It comes to side effects, and I get a side effect. And one of them is infection in the injection site. Because, oh my God, I went in because I got bit by something, and I went in, and they had to give me, what shot was it they gave me?
I thought they gave you the TB shot, but it could have been the rabies shot.
It wasn't the rabies shot, because rabies shots you get through here.
Okay.
Tetanus.
Tetanus.
The tetanus shot I got in my arm, okay? I was miserable afterwards. With the Humira shot, I can get flu-like symptoms, which, yeah, I could get that. They are worried about me getting the injection site can get infected. Once I start taking Humira on a regular basis, Humira will weaken my immune system because of the fact that my white blood cells are constantly attacking my colon. Because they see a foreign body inside me, so they're going to constantly attack it. Just like your white blood cells attack the flu virus. You're sick with the flu, they attack it, and that's how you get rid of the flu. But I'm constantly getting attacked by my white blood cells because of what I have in my body. So having the Humira It's supposed to help my joint pain because Humira is meant for people with severe arthritis. So, it's tacky. It's going to help, but it's going to heighten my white blood cell. And when your white blood cells attack, your immune system is weakened. So I am going to be more susceptible of getting sicker, which I am glad I haven't gotten sick like some people I know that have bowel disease. But because I'm trying so hard to stay away from everyone that gets sick. But once I do get sick, it could be pretty bad because Humira causes really bad upper respiratory infections. And once I get one of those, that's going to be hard to get rid of.
Okay. Yeah.
So.
Oh, this is definitely, it's an adventure. It's been very trying on everybody.
Mm-hmm.
You know, and now that the kids are now being homeschooled due to bullying issues and whatnot, at least it's not, because honestly, if they're in public school, yeah. And remember, we were like, sickness would go through like a cycle. 3 kids and everybody's sick for like the 6 out of 9 months. You're sick.
The last school year, both kids got strep throat. Lily got it first at the beginning of last school year. She was out for 2 weeks, and then she got better. Then little Chris got it, and he was out for a week and a half. And with little Chris and his autism, autistic kids will all have stomach problems, and they can also have IBS, and he was having issues there for a while, and he was missing a lot of school because of it. And so yeah, it just seemed like when one kid got sick, the other one got sick, and it just wouldn't go away.
Okay. So shall we continue on with the other things?
Oh yes.
Okay. You put. Oh, I'll let you read it since it's your notes.
Okay, with me, okay, now that we know that December 1st through the 7th is Crohn's and Colitis Awareness Week, I always like to let people know, hey, awareness on that. December is also AIDS Awareness Month.
Right.
So, December 1st, today, is AIDS, World AIDS Day. And, AIDS, we first encountered AIDS in the early 1980s. That's where it all the epidemic began. You've got, people thought, AIDS came from monkeys. People thought only AIDS was, a homosexual disease. You can only get it if you're a homosexual. A lot of times they were like, be careful of blood transfusions because if doctors don't do them correctly, you could get AIDS from that. We actually know somebody that has HIV that has had that happen.
Right.
Back in the day.
And we also, famous people. I think the first case known was Ryan White. I think that's the first case I remember.
Yeah, if you remember, in school, you watched some schools aired the Ryan Wright movie.
Right, one of the most famous cases ever, Freddie Mercury.
Yeah, little Chris. I was reading my notes to little Chris, and he was like, oh, like Freddie Mercury. That's how he knows what AIDS is because of the Queen movie.
And then you see cases now. It was a doomable disease. Now it's livable. Look at Magic Johnson. Magic Johnson came out with that in 91, 92, and
yeah.
He's living a full, healthy life. I mean, it helps that he is physically active and stuff for sure. But they've got drugs to treat it. I've heard rumors. I don't want to say but I've heard the rumors that there's possibly close to coming to a cure.
Yeah.
So maybe, and I guess Donald Trump had just said that within 10 years we're going to get rid of AIDS.
Yeah.
So take that as you will.
Yeah.
But
Yeah, I've got some statistics, some information about it here. It says that more than 1 million Americans are living with HIV, but there's 1 in 5 of them are not aware they are infected. So there could be 1 in 5 people walking around not realizing they have it.
it's crazy.
And then you got, while the number of people with HIV has increased in the United States, the annual number of new infections has remained relatively stable. So, and World AIDS Day is important because it reminds us that HIV has not gone away. Every 9.5 minutes, every 9.5 minutes, someone is infected in the U.S. So we're talking about it, and 9.9 and a half minutes later, someone's infected.
All right, so always promote safe sex for sure.
Definitely.
I'll be honest. I've seen it. It's again, we know people who have suffered HIV. Um, but I don't really know a whole lot enough about it to really say too much on the subject itself.
It's just like me. I don't know if they can. Yeah, do they consider AIDS an autoimmune
It is.
disease as
HIV
well?
is it's autoimmune deficiency syndrome. That's AIDS. That's what it stands for.
Okay. Yeah. Okay.
So to correlate that back, you're going through a similar problem
Yes.
with your Crohn's.
Exactly. And when you have someone that gets a, like with someone like me, if I get sick, it takes me forever to get rid of it. Same thing with someone that has HIV and AIDS. They have it, and if they get a cold, that's just, you better watch out, because that is like either life or death for them.
Right, and again though, we've got medicines out. The medical industry has advanced so much that it's easier to deal with those things than it was.
But then
We'll say 40 years ago.
True, but then you have to make sure that your insurance pays for it, because there's a lot of times, if you're on Medi-Cal. Just like with my Humira, for instance, if I didn't have insurance, it would cost me $37,000 for just 2 injections.
That's...
Yeah, and think about those HIV medications. They're expensive as well. But the only thing is, I'm getting a copay of $5, so whatever insurance doesn't cover, like $200 of it, Humira, the company itself, will cover it, and all I have to do is pay $5. Only problem is, luckily with our insurance, if we were to be on like Medi-Cal, Medicaid, Medicare, or TRICARE, they wouldn't cover it.
Right. And then that goes for people who, those general types of insurances go for people who can't work, or, I'm not going to say who don't want to work, because that is, but mostly it's for people who are either can't work or like too old, or, have some, so, not that I want to get political or anything, but I think that our healthcare system needs to do better there. I mean,
True.
It's just, that's how I feel. As I'm off the soapbox on that.
But yeah, I like to start. I want to start doing with CK Project. When we do one like a podcast like the first of the month, this is whatever awareness month, to help let people know that we're here for them. And we are going to be aware of, those certain issues, like like.
And we'll do study, and we'll start citing resources and giving people that, and we'll put that links in the description so people can check it out for themselves, because the more you know, right?
Yeah, exactly.
Or like G.I. Joe, knowing is half the battle.
Yeah. So for that aside, it's Christmas time, and a lot of people, there are those people out there that don't have families to be around or anything like that.
Right.
And it's nice to know, we're here for you guys. If because it can get depressing. Like me, for instance, I had my dad passed away November 29th, and Thanksgiving fell on his Thanksgiving every once in a while will fall on his birthday, which is November 28th. And he was buried December 5th. And then we have my grandmother that passed away Christmas Eve in 1995. So people have families that sometimes they have passed away around this time of year, and it gets kind of sad and depressed and lonely. And then you got your military people, right, that
isn't this like the highest time of year for like suicide and stuff?
Yes.
Okay,
so I've got some list of numbers you could call if you're feeling a little, like you need to talk to somebody. There's the National Helpline, the National Substance Abuse and Mental Health Service Administration number. It's 1-800-662-HELP. You call that if you're feeling, needing to talk to somebody. You're like at your wits end. You're abusing drugs, alcohol, any of that, and you have nowhere to go, nobody to talk to.
And I'll put a little graphic with the number.
Yeah, again, that's called the Substance Abuse and Mental Health Service Administration, and that number again is 1-800-662-HELP. So, and then also you've got your National Suicide Prevention Lifeline, which is 1-800-273-8255. They're 24/7, 24 hours a day. You can call them any time of the day, any day of the week. They also have the suicidepreventionlifeline.org. You can, over the years, been able to talk to them through chat. If you don't feel comfortable actually speaking to somebody over the phone, there's a chat that you can do, and they will talk to you 24/7, 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. Again, that is the Suicide Prevention Lifeline, 1-800-273-8255, and their website is suicidepreventionlifeline.org. And we know recently, how long has it been here? What, a year, maybe 2 years?
Yeah, I think it's been 2 years. Our town of Ridgecrest.
So we have the Ridgecrest Crisis Stabilization Unit, which is open 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, which is on 1141 Chelsea Street, which is over there by Taco Bell and near Peter Fresh. And
that's like right between them.
Right between them, that small little building back there. And if you need to talk to somebody or whatnot, you can go into there any time of the day, any day of the week. They're open. And their phone number is 760-463-2880. So we've got something here in Ridgecrest for anyone that lives here in Ridgecrest that needs to talk to somebody. I'm not sure what insurance they take, but I know it's basically like a mental urgent care.
Right. Yeah. That's what I was. I heard.
Yeah. So
they talked about it at the place that pays the bills. So
yeah. So it's a place that you need to talk to somebody. It's there for you. First and foremost, if you have you're feeling a certain way, you have friends and family that can be there for you. Go to them. But if you are alone and you don't have anybody, these places are there to help you.
And with that being said, and I'm going to address the camera, if you feel like you don't have somebody, tag me in a post in whatever form of social media, and I'll go ahead and I'll here somewhere I'll put whatever to get to our social media. Hit me up at being somebody who has survived my mental illness and going through the suicidal tendencies. I can at least relate on some level and try and help you through it. I have talked to people and have helped them not make that, because let's face it, death is permanent, and most of the time things can and will get better. And like I said, I got resources, or I can talk to people who can get you the help that you need. Because, and you know, not to call it out on those who go through it, but I've had friends who've gone through it and they didn't really want the help. Now, whether they wanted they craved that negative attention or whatever, you know, us offering to help get you where you need to go to get that help comes with the fact that you've got to want that help. And that's what it took me, is that I was a certain way. I was calling out for help and I didn't know what to do, and getting to where I got the help was what saved my life. I'm here today. I'm doing this because of it. I think this has become more than just, oh, let me help one or two people. This is a message saying, getting out there, and some people take it serious, some people don't, but we're serious. It will get better. You just have to want it. Because if you don't want to change, or you don't really want that help, nothing happens. The same thing. It's like smoking. If you want to quit, if you're like, oh, I can't stop smoking, give me something. You know, you have to want to stop smoking before any Nicorette or patch or anything will help you through it. You know, you need to absolutely want it, and you don't want to get too far into where you can't come back. Oh, I'm bleeding out on the floor, and right as you're getting ready to die, you want to be saved, because chances are, by the time you get there, it's too late. And I've had friends and family whom have committed suicide, and it's not easy.
No, it's not.
And even when you feel alone, that's the worst feeling in the world. And I know, because I've dealt with that type of feeling since I was 7 years old. Let me tell you that if you interact with people in anywhere in your life, you're going to affect somebody. That is going to leave a hole somewhere, and you may not even know it. Anyways, we've got the numbers. We'll put them up on when I finish prepping this video on for YouTube. We'll put the graphics. I like doing that stuff anyway. Just know that we're here, and the CK project is a movement for self-improvement, whether it's weight loss, whether it's mental health, whether it's helping others, guide them to where they know. If you feeling like you've got these strange feelings inside with your guts, and you may have IBS or IBD, Sarah, the Ted here, could guide you in a direction. You know, she's kind of becoming more proficient, knowing a little bit more about chronic illness. I'm definitely the mental health side of things. You know, we're always trying to help people, because I feel like that is what I was put here on earth. I mean, is to help people. Whether it's through my visual storytelling, whether it's just connecting socially with somebody and bonding with them through whatever geeky type stuff we do, or, you know, being the motivator, being the light for somebody who needs it. I know that's where my gifts come in. And I'm just fortunate enough that knowing that me helping a few people out of that kind of thought made me feel great. And I continue to want to do this. That's why I represent the CK project. I'll put this because I've never said it. So I'm a huge geek, which if you follow me on any sort of social media or real life, you already know this. I use the color blue because several years ago, a I'm a huge Green Lantern fan. They started introducing different color rings, and blue was actually the first color they introduced after the green and yellow, which green was willpower, yellow is fear, but blue is hope. And that's why, if you look, it goes upwards because there's always hope, always going up. You will, there is that hope. And that's why I do this the way I designed it. It's crazy, but it kind of meant something to me by doing that. Like I said, we all go through our things. We're learning as a couple of 20 together for 20 years. We're learning to deal with each other's issues. We continue, you know, but as the CK project, we're here to help people. Mm-hmm. And it helps us too because it makes us feel good that we're doing something that this message doesn't just go on the deaf ears because I have people. Thank you. You've inspired me to lose the weight. You help inspire me to treat people better. I've even heard that. With that being said, I don't really have much more to say. We're doing the dual cast tonight. I'm excited. This is the first time we've done this. I'm looking to do this far more. Please, if you follow us, listen. We're on 9 different platforms for podcasting. If you see something like I want to hear it but I don't have it, we can try to find it for you. Like it, share it, help spread the message. When this comes up on YouTube, leave comments. Please, whatever you do, because I do know I have people who are probably going to watch this. Oh, I follow your stuff, but I don't ever say or do anything. As a favor to me, like it, share it. Let me know through social media that you're rooting for us and that you like what we have to say, because this is important. This is something we want to do and continue to do, and getting the more support, one, it shows that we're doing something good, but it also shows other people that you think we're doing something good.